So, you've outgrown your house. You know it, your husband knows it, your kids know it because they're sharing a bathroom and someone always ends up crying, and you want to move. You're ready. You've been scrolling Zillow at 10 p.m. like it's a hobby. But here's the part that stops people dead in their tracks every single time. How do we sell our house and buy a new one at the same time? Because that feels like trying to jump from one moving train to another. And honestly, it kind of is. But people do it every single day, successfully, without completely falling apart. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works, what the options are, and what I wish more people knew before they started that process. Hi, I'm Casey. I'm a realtor in the Chippewa Valley area of Wisconsin, and I help move-up buyers navigate exactly this situation every single day, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So grab your coffee or your watermelon Red Bull, and let's get into it. First, let's just name the thing that makes this feel so scary. You have two transactions happening at the same time, two sets of paperwork, two sets of deadlines, two sets of emotions. And the timing has to work together in a way that doesn't leave you feeling homeless in between or stuck paying two mortgages at once. That's a lot. And most people don't know that there are actually multiple ways to do this. They think there's one path, it's terrifying, and they either jump in with no plan or they just don't move at all. I've seen families stay in homes they've outgrown for years because they couldn't figure out the logistics. And that breaks my heart a little because with the right plan and the right agent, this is absolutely doable. So let's talk about the options. I'm going to walk you through 3 different approaches, and then I'm going to tell you which one I most commonly recommend and why. The first approach is to sell your current home first, then buy the next one. Here's how this usually plays out. You list your house, you get an offer, and you negotiate a longer closing timeline. This feels safer to a lot of people because you know exactly what you're working with financially before you go shopping. You know your equity, you know your budget, there's no guessing. But the downside, you might find yourself without a place to land if the timing doesn't line up perfectly. This could mean a short-term rental, staying with family, or renting a storage unit to put half of your stuff in. You never want to feel pressured to buy a home because of a deadline. This route isn't the end of the world, but it's good to know going into this that it's a real possibility you might have to find temporary housing. For some families, especially if they have flexibility on where they're going or they're not in a huge rush, this is a totally reasonable path. Option 2 is the reverse. You find your next home first, then purchase it, then sell your current one. This one feels exciting because you get to secure your dream home without the pressure of, we got to be out by Friday. But here's the real talk moment. This one requires that you qualify for 2 mortgages at the same time, which means your lender is looking at your income and saying, can this person afford both payments if that first house doesn't sell right away? For some buyers, that's totally fine. For others, it's a hard no from the lender. And if your down payment for the new house is tied up in the equity of your current home, this gets complicated fast. Some people bridge this gap with what's called a bridge loan. It's a short-term loan that lets you tap into your current equity before you've sold it. It can work, but it adds a layer of complexity and cost. This is why having a great lender and a great agent on your team from day one is so important. You need people who can look at the full picture and help you figure out if this is even an option for you. Okay, option 3. This is the one that most of my move-up buyers end up doing, and honestly, it's one that I love walking people through. A simultaneous close means you're selling your current home and buying your next one, and both transactions close on the same day. I know that sounds wild, but here's why it works when it's done well. It gives you the flexibility to be able to shop around for that dream home. I'll give an example here shortly of my own personal experience, but it took us 3 years to find the home we were looking for. We didn't want to be pressured into making a decision on a home because of deadlines or timelines. If we would have had to have listed our house first in order to buy that next home, we never would have gotten the home we wanted because it wasn't available for 3 years. So in this situation, you are house shopping, you find a home, you go under contract on that new property, and then you list your current home in the hopes of quickly selling it so that you can close on both properties at the same time. The key ingredient to make this process work is a really strong listing strategy so that your house sells quickly and for top dollar. Because if your sale drags out, your whole time gets wobbly and you risk losing the house. A great lender who understands this situation and can move fast is essential. An agent who is coordinating both sides proactively is so important. This is honestly where my background as a social worker comes in. But when you're managing 2 transactions with 2 sets of humans, 2 sets of deadlines, and a family stuck in the middle of all of it, you need someone who can handle all of that without panicking. Someone who can problem solve in real time. Someone who's going to call you with a solution, not just a problem. I want to tell you our story because I think it's going to make everything I just said feel a little more real. My husband and I had been searching for our dream property out in the country for 2 years. 2 years, which turned into a total of a 3-year timeline, but I'll get to that. We were looking for acreage, the right location, the right house, in the right school district. We had a very specific vision and we just couldn't find it. So going into year 2, we made a decision. We were done looking for a while. We were going to stop obsessing and just be content where we were. And to help us do that, we got a pool installed. Like, okay, we're staying. Let's commit to this house. Let's make it great. Pool goes in the late summer. We stop aggressively searching and life is good. Fast forward the timeline about a year and this property hits the market. It wasn't our dream home, not even close. But it had been sitting for a while. It wasn't going under contract, and we thought, you know what? Let's just go look. Let's go look for fun. Note to self, do not go look for fun. I'm telling you this as a professional. We ended up writing an aggressive offer and got it accepted. And here's where it gets really real for you. We had 7 days to get our current house listed and on the market. 7 days. We weren't planning on selling. Our house was not ready to hit the market. And somewhere in that week, we also had to go out of town for a wedding. There was a bump clause on the new property, which means if another offer comes in, we could have been bumped if our house wasn't under contract yet. So the pressure was real. We got our house on the market, and thankfully we got it under contract within 4 days. Due to an extensive amount of time spent prepping our house and making it absolutely spotless and ready to go for listing. Having that strategic marketing strategy to list the home was what sold it. Then it was inspections on the new property, packing up our entire lives, and oh, by the way, we were moving from a large house with a ton of storage and a ton of garage space to a house with a 1-car tuck-under garage that was smaller than the previous home. So we had to basically sell off everything we owned in the middle of it. And then when we moved in, we had to sell even more stuff because it wouldn't fit. It was genuinely the most stressful 60 days of my life. And I don't regret it for a single second. We are out on 30 acres now. The kids have room to roam. We have chickens. I drink my watermelon Red Bull on the porch and watch the sunrise. And I think about how different our life looks from where it was 4 years ago. It was worth every chaotic, overwhelming, where are we going to put all of this stuff moment. Oh, and one more thing I should probably mention. I was the realtor on both transactions, my own sale and my own purchase. Humbling doesn't even begin to cover it. I will just say this. Having been on the inside of a simultaneous close as both the agent and the client gave me a level of empathy for what buyers and sellers go through that I maybe didn't have before. I felt every piece of it, and it made me so much better at my job. Okay, so let's bring this home. If you're sitting here thinking, this is us, we need to do this, here is where to start. Before you do anything else, you need to know what you're working with financially. What is your current home worth? What do you owe on that home? What is your equity going to be? And what does that look like for your next purchase? A good lender can run all of this and help you see your options clearly. Don't skip this step. It's the foundation of everything else. Step 2, have a real conversation with your agent. Not a, hey, can you send me some listings conversation, but a real sit down where you talk about your timeline, your goals, your concerns, your budget, and what the plan is going to be. I do full seller and buyer consultations with every single client before we start, because you deserve to understand the whole process up front and not discover surprises along the way. Step 3, start preparing your home to list. Even if you're not ready to list tomorrow, there are things you can be doing now. Decluttering, minor repairs, fresh paint, getting a feel for what staging might look like. The more prepared your home is, the faster and smoother your sale is going to go. And in this situation, speed and smoothness are your best friends. Here's what I want you to walk away knowing. Buying and selling at the same time is not as scary as it sounds when you have a plan and the right people in your corner. It's doable. I have walked families through it many times. And when it comes together, watching someone close on their current home, driving across town, and closing on their next home in the same afternoon is one of my absolute favorite days in this job. That's what we're working towards. That's the moment. And if you're in the Chippewa Valley area and you're starting to think about making a move, I would genuinely love to chat. No pressure, no sales pitch, just a real conversation about what your situation looks like and what your options might be. My contact information is linked below. So is my home buying blueprint if you want a free resource to start getting your head around the process. And if this video was helpful to you, please share it with someone who's been saying, we really need to move for the past 2 years. Because maybe this is the thing that finally helps them see it's actually possible. Okay, that's everything. Chat soon.